Hi everyone, it's Nick. Welcome back to my channel. Okay, in today's video, we are going to be talking about my top 10 IKEA upgrades to really customize IKEA to make it look really expensive and luxurious and amazing and beautiful. Listen, okay, here's what we're not doing. We're not doing in this video. I'm gonna get this right out of the way. We're not DIYing. That's not really what we're doing, right? Minimal work needs to be done to make these things happen. There's lots of cool companies that will help you out and be able to achieve this custom look, but we're not turning salad bowls into lampshades, okay? We're not turning salad bowls into coffee tables for that matter. We're not doing any of that, okay? We're not DIYing. What we're doing here is looking at different interesting ways that you can customize your IKEA stuff. There's lots of different cool companies out there to make something really special. So let's get going. Okay, but before we discuss those IKEA upgrades, I want to take a moment and thank today's sponsor and also talk to you about a luxurious and upgraded experience for your own car. And that is today's sponsor, which is Drift. Drift creates air care products for your car and your home that look good and really smell good too. They use only premium essential oils and fragrant oil blends, free of harmful chemicals that other traditional fragrance companies will frequently use. I have a wood car freshener in scent teak and it smells amazing. Fun fact, I had my last one in for over a year before switching to this new one, and I still get compliments whenever people get in my car. They can still smell it even when it was a year old. It's crazy. But if you're noticing nose blindness, of course, Drift does come out with new scents every month, so you can subscribe to get a new scent delivered to your car every 30 days. I love how sleek and minimal it is, especially since I'm not sort of a really like decorate your car kind of guy, but you can choose to get your freshener in wood, stone, or metal. You have 3 options there, and it's really easy to use. You just slip in the metal clip to your sun visor, then you just attach the wood, stone, or metal freshener magnetically. So if you want to elevate your home or your car with some amazing scents, make sure to use the coupon code LEWIS at drift.co or scan the QR code right here for 55% off. It's less than $5 for your first month, which is an amazing deal. Thank you, Drift, for partnering with me on this video. Don't forget to check out the link below. Now let's get back to some of those IKEA upgrade companies. Okay, so the first customization that you can do to make your IKEA look beautiful and amazing is to change out the cabinet doors in your kitchen. This one has to be the number one because there are so many really cool companies that are out there doing that. So what do I mean by that? I mean that the section system for IKEA is stellar. Like, it is actually used a lot in designer projects, in high-end projects, because it is a really super solid system. The section system is amazing. It's been around for years. As long as I've been making videos here on YouTube, the section system has been around, and it is really great just, you know, being good quality boxes, right? Yes, you can get somebody, a cabinet maker to customize ones that are made out of like plywood, and sure, those things are probably like, those are higher end, but they're gonna be a lot more expensive. The IKEA ones, just the plain old white IKEA sections, are super solid and amazing. My last home that I had, my apartment where I filmed most of my videos before I moved here last year, had an IKEA kitchen, and it was really great. Not only that, what's really wonderful is that all of IKEA's different component system, it's actually called the component, fits inside the section system. So you kind of also get the ecosystem for IKEA's like other organization tools, which is amazing. But sometimes the door fronts are a little ho-hum, right? They're a little whatever. We've seen them all before. They're just kind of really basic, and the colors are basic, and they don't seem like they're that great quality. But there's lots of amazing companies out there that you can swap out those door fronts, and you can get walnut, you can get oak, you can get gorgeous ones, you can get different colors, you can get ones that can be painted, right? Semihandmade does some really great ones. Reform does some really great ones. Lots of different companies that are out there. Again, I'm gonna link a ton of them down in the description, and they do a really good job of taking section cabinets, but then being able to swap out the door fronts so you can get whatever color you want. You can get whatever you're looking for, different materials, and they're just gonna read a lot more higher end than what you're gonna get from IKEA in my personal experience. Nothing wrong with the IKEA ones. There's just so much more choice out there, and you can customize it, and no one will ever know it's IKEA, because who cares if the white box is inside or IKEA? If your door fronts are amazing and beautiful and fabulous, that's good enough to get the look that you're really going for. So I really love these door front companies. I think they're amazing. If you're a person that already has an IKEA system installed and they're just looking a little ratty, you can always change out the door fronts and save yourself from doing an entire kitchen renovation. So really wonderful these companies are out there. That's my first hack for you. Give this one a go, especially if you're considering a renovation for your kitchen. Okay, next on my list is gonna be doing slip covers over top of armchairs and sofas. This is applying, by the way, to both indoor and outdoor. So there's a lot of companies like Rockin Cushions and stuff that do a lot of really beautiful, cool outdoor cushion covers. So this includes both like slip covering or just taking the different cushions that they have and just rotating them out. So again, IKEA, lots of really cool systems that they have for their sofa systems, indoor and outdoor, as I said, but there's also maybe just not as much choice, and they're a little bit generic to just go with sort of the plain old slip covers or covers that they're normally gonna give you with the sofa. Enter slip covering through all of these other companies companies that are just fabulous and amazing. Bemz really comes to mind as a really great option for indoor cushions. I think I see them around a lot and their cushions look beautiful. The materials that they're using are gonna probably be a lot nicer than the ones that are used from IKEA, and also just a lot more custom and just make them feel a little bit more special. So, you know, could have some more interesting colors. It's not gonna feel like everybody else has it, because you know what, if you wanna roll with the basic Kvik sectional, it's just beige and blonde, whatever, that's fine. But you can also slip cover it and use these systems that are completely customized and designed for the Kvik sectional. And you have a whole new sort of customized piece for a fraction of the cost of actually some other sofa systems. So this is like a really cool thing, right? We're leaning on IKEA's generally decent or good quality in terms of like longevity of some of its products. Also the scale and the cost, of course, of a lot of the pieces that they have, right? A lot of these pieces, because they're IKEA and they're ginormous, a lot of these sort of pieces are going to be a lot cheaper. And so you can buy a pretty basic sectional or sofa, and then you can also then get something that feels a lot more luxurious on the outside by using one of these slipcover systems. So I think this is very clever and a really great way to sort of customize your IKEA to make it a lot more special. Okay, in the same department, we're next going to talk about custom cushions. Now, obviously you can do this on your new slip covered sofa. Obviously that's a gimme. You could do that also for a side chair, but you could also do it for a front bench. You could use it on top of your bed if you want to put little throw cushions on there. There's lots of different cool companies that use that already use sort of the inserts that IKEA is really great at. I really like the IKEA pillow inserts that are using the feather down. I think they're amazing. I think they're plush. I think you have good sinkability, which you know is a word I love to use that isn't really probably a word, which is where you like squish in the pillow and it doesn't just like bounce back. It just like kind of has some give, you know what I mean? You can lean into it and it feels really good, right? Those we just love, and those are feather down, and those you can get at IKEA, and they're really cheap. They're like way cheaper than you can get at other places, which is really good to know. But you know, maybe you're a little tired of the covers that IKEA is churning out over at for those little slip covers that you're using. Yes, the Sinella and stuff are really cool and they're really wonderful and whatever, and the IKEA's got some good ones too, but it's worth considering that you're like, well, I kind of wanted something in a different fabric, or I wanted something in a different color or pattern or whatever. Guess what? There's lots of different companies that are out there that you can now completely customize those pillow systems that IKEA is already really famous for. So you're leaning on the affordability of those pillows while also then swapping them out for some really cool slip covers. Also, by the way, just an add-on, you can even go to retailers like CB2 and some mainstream retailers that you wouldn't actually think specialize in this like slip covering IKEA upgrade sort of situation, but they'll also work for IKEA systems as well. You just got to really double check your measurements to make sure that they're the right, obviously, dimensions, but you should be doing that anyway, to be honest. So those are also worth it. You can Crate and Barrel CB2, like a lot of them will do this as well, where you don't, the inserts might be a lot more expensive at one of those retailers, but you can just buy the slip cover and put over top of IKEA. Okay, next up is going to be custom bed skirts and headboard covers. This is also an interesting one that I didn't even know existed until recently, which is that you can go with one of the basic IKEA bed systems, something like the Mom, something like whatever, the different ones that they have available there, and then you can just swap out the headboard for one that is like an upholstered headboard or something that is part of these different upgrade companies. So again, you're like able to lean on the basic sort of bed system, which, you know, let's be honest, it's very affordable. Like these beds are very, very affordable, but sometimes on the headboard, you know, you might just think that they're just not that interesting, or maybe that you're not happy with there's probably no skirting options really at IKEA, and you're thinking, well, I want to kind of customize it to make it look a little bit more special. There's lots of companies that are out there that you can swap out those headboards or those skirts to be able to make them a little bit more customized to your taste, different materials, different colors, and I think that works really well, especially because you're leaning on some of those really basic bed frames that IKEA is so good at. Okay, next on my list is going to be kids hacks. So this is like kids products that you can change out in the kids section. Now, as you all know, I don't always usually care for children, so I don't usually talk about them very much on the channel. I like some kids, okay? Like some kids are like polite and well-behaved and we like those, but some of them are like screaming little monsters, and so those aren't the ones that we really care for, but I'm sure yours are lovely, okay? So I'm sure yours are fantastic. Obviously that's not who I mean. I'm talking about other people's kids, you know what I mean? Okay, but kids, they have products at IKEA too. I just never talk about them. There's lots of different hacking systems, custom companies that work on kid stuff, which I think is really cool. So like one that really comes to mind is called Limmaland. And this is a company that basically specializes in doing like different decals and different sort of kind of skirting thingies and all sorts of different, like their little high chair, they have like a little bar to put over top so that like they can improve some of the IKEA systems that they're already using for their kid stuff, which I think is really cool. A lot of the like IKEA kid stuff is just very Scandi, right? It's very beige. It's very beige almond mom with some of those creepy stuffed animals that I don't really care for, because I think IKEA ones are particularly creepy. I'm just saying. I don't know why in particular, but IKEA likes the creepy animals for children. But anyway, but they do have a lot of like beige and white sort of Scandi, plain, boring, maybe someone could say, IKEA kids products. What these guys have done, which I think is really cool, is like a lot of interesting ways to like add color and texture and things to IKEA products. And even some like apparently maybe, dare I say, safety features kind of added in there. Like they've really done a good job, I think, of saying, hey, how can we kind of lean on the basics of what IKEA does and then upgrade them to make them a little bit more personalized with a bit more personality, but also kind of just interesting features that you might not have thought of to add on there, which I think is really cool. Okay, next on my list is going to be to upgrade legs and other hardware. So I talk about upgrading hardware a lot on my channel because I do think it's like such an easy way to do a quick upgrade. This is not a really difficult, okay, you just need a Phillips screwdriver, okay, maybe a flathead, maybe even just an Allen wrench, you know what I mean? Like you just need a screwdriver essentially to kind of swap out some of these handles. And I think this does a really, really great job of taking really basic stuff from IKEA and swapping out, because IKEA is not really good at things like doorknobs and like cabinet knobs and stuff. Their cabinet pulls and stuff are just boring in my opinion. I just don't really care for them. I think they're just, the brass is really too yellow. I just don't think they're using really nice materials. And there's just obviously such an opportunity here. And there's loads of companies that do this. But honestly, again, you could explore Zara Home, H&M Home, like their CB2, like there's lots of retailers that are out there that will do just different knobs, even Amazon, like, you know what I mean? There's lots of places which you can get different cool cabinet hardware and swap it out from your regular IKEA stuff. If you want to go a little bit higher end, a little bit more designer, of course, there's like Richelieu and M-Tech, and like there's a lot of those guys that will do lots and lots of cool door hardware. That's like a lot of the stuff that you'll get spec'd for design projects. But if you're looking at even just the consumer brands, there is, as I said, the H&M Home, they've got lots of cool stuff there that you can go and check out. There is, of course, lots of different companies that specialize in this that are trying to really go after the IKEA doorknob upgrade market, which apparently is a whole thing. Like, well, it is, like it's huge and people are swapping them out. Pretty Pegs is one that I've heard a lot about. They specifically are also targeting the legs, which I think is interesting. So whether it's on cabinets, whether it's on sofas, whatever, you can swap out the legs. And I think that's really cool too. So you can upgrade the legs, upgrade the little door cabinet, you know, handles and stuff, you know, because some of the ones at IKEA just aren't really good. Like the ones that sort of look like nipple tassels, I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. I think it's the Lonarp or something cabinet. I think it just looks like nipple tassels. There, you know, we were all thinking it, and I'm finally the brave one on the internet who decided to point it out to everybody. Now it can no longer be unseen. So, you know, you might want to swap those out. And so there's lots of cool companies that will help swap those out for you, so you can turn that Lonarp or whatever into something a little less nipply. So good luck with that. And let's just move on. Okay, next up on my list is gonna be custom tabletops. This is now getting a little hacky. Okay, we're getting into a little bit hacks, okay? We're DIYing a little bit more than we were previously, but bear with me. I've seen lots of really cool, like hacks, I hate that, but we're just gonna keep going with it, where people take like side tables and coffee tables and stuff from IKEA that are like pretty basic, but then what they'll do is they'll put like an offcut of natural stone or something. So you go to a stone yard, you talk to a fabricator, whatever, and you're able to get just like a small little offcut of stone. Like you wouldn't even know what to really do with it. And you're able to like kind of like basically glue that on top of a tabletop. And you're able to sort of lean on the general structure and shape of IKEA, but by putting that little piece of natural stone on top, it just really sort of upgrades it, makes it feel really cool. Again, it's a little hacky, it's a little DIY-y, okay? Which is totally outside my comfort zone. But I do think that with a little bit of attention and a little bit of elbow grease, you're able to take something super basic from IKEA and you're able to just obviously make it 10 times more elegant by adding a piece of natural stone on top. And again, like you don't need to go and like, obviously don't buy an entire slab of this, that's probably not needed. But if you're able to get an offcut from a fabricator or something, you might have to be able to do your homework there. That can make a lot of sense. Or there's also Restore, which is a Habitat for Humanity company. They have lots of different like random sort of construction materials. That's like it's a store where a lot of builders and developers and stuff, when they're finished a project, they'll just take all their extra stuff and they'll donate it to Habitat for Humanity. And then you can go and you can buy it and the proceeds go towards Habitat for Humanity, which is building homes, which is a wonderful thing. And so you can get lots of different offcuts and stuff there. So feel free to explore lots of cool ways you can repurpose some of those offcuts into interesting designer pieces on top of pretty basic IKEA furniture. Okay, next up on my list is going to be like built-in sort of closet systems. So again, we're getting a little further towards DIY here, but I see so many of these interesting built-ins that people are doing by playing with, whether it's like the Besto system, I think it's Besto. The Swedish people tell me it's Besto. I used to say Besta and everyone made fun of me. And you know me, I usually don't care about how I mispronounce all the words because there's bigger problems in the world, but I think it's Besto. Anyway, so there's that, like you can take those and you can sort of hook them all together. You can also take the kitchen system that we talked about earlier, the section system, and you don't even necessarily like have to super use it as a kitchen system. Like you can display it in like almost like a bar area or something, like some cool stuff that you can do there. And you can also just do these overall built-ins, or even the Billy bookcase, right? You can take like the Billy bookcase or other closet systems. The packs, of course, which is hello, like that was like my first video that really took off on YouTube 400 years ago, which was my packs wardrobe review. I do not recommend that you watch it. And you know what? Like you can customize the doors there, customize the different components, which is really cool. So there's lots of different cool ways that you can build in the systems so that they don't feel quite like a piece of furniture, but they actually feel a little bit more built in, whether that's in a living room, whether that's in like as built-ins next, like flanking a fireplace, or even a television, something like that is really cool. Or of course in a walk-in closet or a side closet or front hall closet or something. Also an amazing way that you can kind of just upgrade the inserts, the different components, the door fronts, whatever, and then just kind of build them in a little bit so that they're a little bit more custom for your space. Okay, next on my list is going to be different material upgrades. So again, this is like a little bit of legwork, but not really, not very much, trust me. So things that you can do is like take systems, like again, those storage systems, and add on like reeded glass. Like you can actually just like buy this sort of like reeded glass thing that kind of goes on top there. And it sort of makes it a little bit more opaque so people can't see inside, which kind of hides your visual clutter, which is a wonderful thing. It just also just gives a lot of texture and dimension onto your glass, which is cool. So you're taking some of those basic IKEA pieces, and by putting this sort of reeded glass on the front, it sort of obscures it a little bit. It's very trendy right now. The reeded glass is very trendy. IKEA does have some pieces that are incorporating reeded glass, but of course, if you just buy your own from Amazon or something, you can always just like put it on there and upgrade it. Again, we talked about adding like little pieces of offcuts to marble, things like that are just a really wonderful way to upgrade. Painting, I have to include painting. I know it's obvious and kind of basic, but taking basic sort of pine furniture, which is very affordable, but it is a very affordable hardwood, and IKEA likes to use it a lot for kids pieces, for living room pieces, kitchen pieces, right? They use a lot of pine furniture because it's a hardwood and because it's really affordable, but it's oftentimes really like, it's got all those knots and stuff on it, which a lot of people just aren't a big fan of, right? It looks a little rustic, a little Danish mid-century, and like in a country way. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what it feels like for me when I think of pine furniture. And a lot of people, that's just not their look, and that's totally fine too. And so painting that, priming and painting that, again, I'm not the one that's gonna tell you how to do it, like technically. Like if I told, don't listen to me. But if you want to go and actually paint some of those pieces, there's people on the internet that will tell you how to do it. You can go and do that. You can sort of paint all those pieces out, and they just look a lot cleaner, more interesting, colorful, and a little bit more fun than sort of just kind of not that there's anything wrong with the plain pine as well, but it's just a really great way to customize it and completely make it your own. Or use wallpaper. Wallpaper is also another addition, right? You can say, you know, you've got like some cool pine furniture or something, and you're like, okay, it's kind of cool. But then if you were to wallpaper the back of it or something with whatever wallpaper you're looking for, you just turned it into your own custom piece, and it was really minimal effort. Even I can wallpaper a piece of pine furniture. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not that difficult to do, and it totally levels it up. Okay, next on my list is gonna be change out your door fronts. So we talked a little bit earlier about changing out your kitchen door fronts, which is like the semi-handmades, the reforms, all that sort of stuff. But there's also different organization units that you can do in other areas of the home. Things like bathroom vanities, right? The Good Morgan system, bathroom vanity. I used to have 2 of these in my old house, in both of my bathrooms, and I totally used one of these companies. I used a company called Kitch here in Canada to be able to change out those 2 bathroom vanities. Again, using all the components and the inner workings with the IKEA system, but I had one in black and one in white, and being able to just like use a much nicer system to be able to kind of give it a lot more character, and just felt a lot more interesting. Materials felt a lot nicer. You know, this was like, it was just a very matte sort of soft sort of finish, which was really beautiful. I loved it in my old house. I had it again in white and in black, and I loved them both. And it just really felt like a much premium way of doing the Good Morgan system. But again, leaning on some of those basic, the sink and the, you know, the inner components and stuff that you get with IKEA. So you can do this with the Besto, you can do this with the Good Morgan, lots of just sort of interesting organization pieces around the home that you're also able to swap out those door fronts for. Okay, that's it for me for today, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this video. I'm gonna throw here to my video of top 10 IKEA products. These are my favorite IKEA products that I absolutely love. I love so much of IKEA. I had to condense it into a ranked top 10, and I did in this video. So go check that one out, and I will see you all in the next video. Thanks a lot. Bye.